Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Visionary Leaders Collective Podcast. I'm Dr. Josie Schmidt, a founding member, and we gather every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time for insightful discussions on everything to do with wellness and doTERRA essential oils. If you've missed an episode, you can catch up on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify and stay updated on our website at hellovisionary.life and subscribe to our newsletter and text reminders. And we'd be so grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review. So, welcome today. We have a transformative discussion with doTERRA leader and meditation teacher Asha McLaughlin and the esteemed author Robert Simon Siegel. Together, they will be discussing energy and joy as our stress fix and how to blend different techniques with essential wellness protocols for living a grounded, calm, and happy life. Robert Simon Siegel, MS, is a renowned stress specialist with over 30 years of research and clinical experience in hospitals and medical centers. Robert experienced a life-changing panic attack while giving an oral presentation at college, and he has made it his mission to truly understand stress and provide lifelong skills for managing it effectively. Asha McLaughlin is a natural health and breath coach, as well as a yoga and meditation teacher who specializes in nervous system regulation and stress management. Asha has traveled all over the world and incorporates Ayurvedic, Chinese, and naturopathic medicines into her practice. We are so delighted to have these two amazing people with us today talking about joy and stress. So I will hand it over to Robert. Thank you, Robert, so much for being with us.
Hi, thank you. It's a joy to be here, and I'm very, very happy with the my 4 months exposure to doTERRA and the products. I love what the company's doing. I love the quality and the integrity and the mission. So it's great to be aligned because I share all that. So today, uh, let's let's see. Let's go to this. And there's a lot on this slide, a lot of concepts here. Excuse me. Basically, what we want to do is fix stress. Like, I'm not claiming to solve it because you don't want to. I mean, we're solving it in the sense that we're eliminating the damage of stress, because that's the problem. But stress is actually quite amazing as a phenomenon. And I want to convey some of that magnificence of this lowly thing we call stress, so we can make good use of it. So, as a foundation for our health, stress is actually the primary cause of physical and mental illness through many, many pathways. And there's a lot of statistics about that, like 60 to 90% of all primary care doctor visits from stress, half of all lost time and absenteeism in the workplace from stress. And it's amazing that we haven't solved it, or this one thing could cause so much damage, and we're not paying attention to a solution or fixing it. So what I've discovered is that stress has a better half that's been missing for 70 years, and it's it's health producing. So this is what my mission is to introduce to the world, really, what I call uplifting, because stress is a survival reaction, and it's a package deal. It means we're in a survival, uh, creating reality in our physiology, in our emotions, in our mentality, and in our life. Um, and our whole species is kind of stuck in survival. So to me, I want to speak to two levels. One is the individual level, where we're improving our health by changing stress into growing health instead of growing disease. And the other is to use stress as a vehicle for evolving our entire species out of our current mode of basic survival. And what I've done, it's only taken, let's go back if we may. At the bottom there, it's only taken 30 years, but I've narrowed down the protocol to three treasures of health. And basically, um, these three treasures provide a foundation for health that is, I believe, essential. Uh, what is something I think we really need to do that we haven't done yet is to describe what is the basic foundation for human health that not the minimum for not getting too sick, but what is it that humans actually need as a foundation to be healthy? And this is something we need to define and describe. And I know doTERRA is right on the cutting edge of that. And so it's great to be aligned there. Thank you. So let's go to the next one. So how do we fix stress? So it's actually kind of easy. We just need to do one mechanism and restore its health. And this is what I call our body's stress factory. It's the HPA axis, which is a three-gland mechanism that actually causes pretty much every stress symptom and illness and disease, called the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal gland axis. And it what I've done that's different, I believe, is that the medical model has traditionally gone downstream in its understanding, like going down to the chemical molecular level, but that level is really almost rarely never causal. It's usually the effect of things that are happening upstream in the body. So what I did in my practice and in my book is I went upstream and looked at, well, um, how do we find the levers to control this mechanism and do it without medications, just do it ourselves. So I found there are four main body systems that produce all the symptoms and illnesses of stress. And by going upstream, there are skills to reset each one of those from their disease-producing mode into their health-producing modes. And these are the three treasures. So the first one is dynamic calm for body health. And I want to say that this is a foundation. It's in a way it's kind of general, but if you do this, it really prevents a lot of downstream diseases and symptoms and illnesses from ever starting, which I call the stress damage. So basically, it's how to turn off stress and anxiety and the whole fight, flight, survival reaction within 6 seconds flat. I think this is really important and perhaps the most important single skill today for health because it just stops that whole chain reaction of stress damage. And then there's no stress damage to manage. So, you know, now the other thing that's interesting is that when you put these four body systems into alignment, so they're out of their disease growing mode into their health producing mode. And by the way, all biological organisms, we're either growing health or we're growing disease. So we want to move that out of disease into health production. And when you do that, we actually, with these four body systems aligned, we put our entire being into the ancient treasured state called meditation. Like without 45 minutes of mindfulness, you're just, boom, your body's there. You're in the present. You put your central nervous system fully in the present, so you're focused clearly. You have your sympathetic nervous system, the arousal mechanism turned down. You turn up your parasympathetic nervous system so your calming mechanism is active, and you're in that beautiful state that doctors recommend called rest, where your body is in a repair and regeneration mode. And then you have your skeletal muscle system relaxed, so you're not sending blood from the internal organs to fuel fight or flight physiology with your muscles which deprives many of your internal organs from their nourishment from blood. So you send the blood back to them so they have their healthy supply of blood and oxygen and nourishment and waste removal. And doing that within seconds is great. Quantum biology would say it puts your mind into your being into what's called a in wave of receptivity, which is one of the benefits of meditation, where we can receive the guidance and the intuition and the creativity that we're seeking from, whatever you want to call it. Many traditions call it your big mind, but then we have that beautiful guidance of our intuition and creativity accessible. So then you want to aim your focus to this part of us we call our big mind. I call it the genius focus because it's really, when you look at psychoneuroimmunology, it turns out that our thoughts actually create physical substance in our brains, like neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, and those are found simultaneously throughout our body as part of our immune system. So we want to not create and proliferate the neuropeptides and neurotransmitters of a survival mentality where we're just focused on worries, problems, fears, doubts, and you know, and the emotions of anger and fear, which weaken our immune strength and keep us in a fight, flight, disease-producing physiology. We want to move into the mind patterns of healthy focusing, which I call uplifting, but it's the genius focus, because when I think humans throughout history who have contributed the most amazing inventions, discoveries, brilliant solutions, and creative masterpieces, this is how they figured out how to focus their mind so they can access their greater creativity and intuition. So I think that's the next mental step for humanity, is to move everybody there. So we can do that, it should be taught in schools. And then when you have that aim, the next part is for energy health, is I call it energy joy. And this is really important for moving out of survival, because we're moving one of the main sources of our biological energy away from the adrenal glands, which is a survival source of energy for fight or flight physiology. And when that's activated, it creates all kind of havoc in the body. And so we want to move that up into a source of energy that produces joy. And I call it our energy joy engine. It's interesting that every authentic religion, spiritual tradition, and wisdom tradition all address this. It's the energy level of our heart organ, right? And it's kind of a really amazing and simple reward system for humans evolving to our next stage, which is when we figure out how to do this, we feel joy, which is amazing. Like, what a great reward system. By feeling joy, we get to be rewarded, and it boosts our immune strength, it boosts our moods and our spirits. I mean, it's an amazing thing to do. And with these three skills together, it's like a little valve in the upper part of your chest, and you can focus and feel it, and it's like a tight muscle, and you can open it up and feel joy come through you as much as you want. So, and you can do it whenever you want without your life being perfect, and without solving all your emotional problems first. So it's a great resource. I think it'll change psychology and psychotherapy by, just feeling joy. Okay, so what is stress really? What I've figured out is, all biological organisms have an awareness signal to recognize opportunities to survive by avoiding danger, and to uplift by prospering. In other words, to grow and evolve. And our signal is stress. But as a species, we've only been doing the first one. We've only been motivated to avoid danger. And pretty much all of our human activities are still in that mode, like all the wars and conquests and destruction of the environment and trying to enslave and control people. It's all a survival based value system that we have to uplift out of. So it's time for that. And the question is like, well, why do you really want to solve stress? And the truth is that stress grows disease. So we want to stop doing that. And what we get from doing that is we grow health. And each of these are pathways, and under stress, they become cardiovascular disease pathways of stress, immune stress disease pathways, metabolic, neurological, and psychological pathways of disease. And when you change them into uplifting, you get all these health benefits just by the three treasures. So this will be up there. I don't want to take your time by going through all of those, but just to know the physiology of repairing stress and fixing it, so we're in a health growing mode, has profound consequences for all these body systems. So the goal, and this is kind of a new direction for health that's been missing from the whole American healthcare system, which doTERRA is changing and I'm wanting to change, is moving up from this bottom half of, treating disease, symptoms, illnesses, which is very costly. And instead of having a goal of just barely getting to neutral health where you don't have a problem at the moment, moving into producing optimal health. So that's what we want to be doing. And it's a whole open, missing upper half of the health spectrum that I think a whole bunch of new goods, services, and products are going to be bringing forth. So one of the fascinating things for evolving is to move our species up into an understanding that we actually live in an energy-based reality, which means everything is energy, including us. It also means that our emotions are energy, and the emotion of joy is actually an energy, right? Everything is energy. So we could take advantage of this by moving our capacities up to dealing in an energy-based reality instead of just being stuck on physicality. And I believe this is our trump card, not the person Trump, but our ability to transcend the physicality of a survival-based value system that's predominant on Earth right now in our human civilization, is to move things up at the energy level because it's more fundamental than the physical. It controls and sustains and creates the physical. So why is joy our most treasured emotion? If you think about it, joy is actually the energy of health. It boosts our immune strength, it boosts our moods, our spirits, our relationships, our outlook, and it does more. It's actually the energy of life because it does all of that. And what I've figured out, and it's in my book, is that our DNA, for example, the chromosomes and the library of information in it is stored not in chemicals and molecules, but in photons of light, just basically energy. And if you think about sunlight, it's not just light or warmth that hits the Earth's surface and triggers the growth of biological life or vegetative life. It must have its own special level of some kind of DNA that's magnificent, right? To produce life, you know. And joy as the energy of health and the energy of life that comes from our heart organ at the energy level has its own DNA. And it's, again, it's quite ancient. All the ancient traditions talk about the value of doing this. It's like it's fundamental to all of their teachings. And it's quite powerful. And in the Dalai Lama's book, he talks about this energy coming out of the heart, the light, um, being able to transform matter and energy and to heal. So, and there's some research in a German university he quotes in his book, but it's quite potent. And the DNA of the energy of life, which I'm calling energy joy, is actually the DNA of life. In other words, it has not a chemical, uh, instruction set in it, but I believe it's the actual mind and awareness of the creation of the creator of the energy of life. It goes quite deep, but that's what we're capable as a species of bringing into the biosphere by opening up our energy joy engine and just feeling joy and radiating it. Uh, and I think when there's a tipping point, and I don't know how many people it is or how much it is, but when there's a tipping point, and I believe this is the biggest contribution our species can make, is to put that into the biosphere, into the quantum matrix, and basically it 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 we cross that tipping point, and then it's infused into the quantum energy of the earth, and then everything changes. So I think that's what we're here to do. Anyway, we can have that joy just by turning that on. So as I mentioned, it's we need to operate at this energy level more fully, and fixing stress is an amazing practical vehicle for accomplishing that. Um, our reality is interactive, uh, meaning, the reason we pray, we do ceremonies, we do positive thinking and affirmations and goal setting is because we affect with our thinking our reality. When it takes time and we go, oh, well, I did all the work and the planning and the grunt work, it seemed natural, but when it happens really quickly, it seems miraculous, but it's the same process, because our Mother Earth grows things, and amazingly, it grows our thoughts into things. So this is what, as a species, we need to learn how to operate positively so we can grow the right stuff into our biosphere and have prosperity that everybody seeks. And so the combination of dynamic calm and the genius focus give us the mind-body tools to access our big mind, where we get that guidance for how to create the most amazing life on earth possible. And then energy joy, that engine powers that manifestation. So it's a simple process. I call it our uplifting system to manifest stuff. And then with energy joy, its higher level of DNA, it's really, I think, our human contribution to life on Earth, because we're a hybrid species, and this is what we can contribute. And in fact, if we don't, currently we're destroying the habitats of so many other species that we need to show them that we get it and we're ready to move up and contribute to life on Earth before they hit the switch of going into their survival mode and cooperating and collaborating to get rid of their main enemy, destroying all their habitats, which is the human species. So we kind of need to step up to the plate here pretty quickly. Anyway, that's kind of my overview. And basically, we want to be growing health. And And learning to do that is what I call uplifting, and it fixes stress. And stress is a problem because we're supposed to fix it and move it up. And we can now choose to do that with a very simple set of skills I call the three treasures. Um, and and at the same time, we improve our health as an individual, we improve our health and uplift our species uh, out of survival into new unknown realms of prosperity, which await us. So that's my mission, and I'm sticking to it.
Awesome, Robert. Thank you so much. I think everybody on this call, I mean, put a one in the chat if you resonated with what Robert was saying. I think we all know this to be true. You know what I mean? But you have so eloquently put it into a system in your book. Isn't that Robert's beautiful book is being shown on the screen. It's called Energy Joy, the Stress Fix. And you can research that and purchase that. It's an amazing book. He also, you can find him, you can email him at info@thestressfix.com. And that is also his URL, his website, thestressfix.com. So that was amazing, Robert. Thank you so much. I'm gonna transition a little bit and kind of having absorbed everything you said, kind of bring it into our doTERRA lifestyle. We are very blessed, those of us who've probably on this call and listening to this afterwards, to know the products of doTERRA. And so we have so many tools to help us with stress, to help us shift our levels of anxiety, depression, what have you. You know, from essential oil protocols to the incredible high quality supplements, to living and learning about detoxification pathways and cleanses. Also, we have really clean, all natural sleep support and skincare, and then non-toxic home. I really believe that all of these areas support our stress reduction. So I want to start with just this slide, because can we all just take a deep breath? Anybody want to just look at this beautiful image on the screen and just let your shoulders drop and take a couple nice deep breaths in and long exhales? I truly believe that one of the best ways to shift our state is to just tune into ourselves, to take the time to recognize how you're feeling. And this can be done beginning, end of day. This can be done throughout your day, taking a few minutes, looking at nature, taking a few breaths, putting a hand over your heart or your belly, and just tuning into your state and bringing yourself back to calm, right? So that's like number one tip, and you have it with you at all times, right? Another amazing tool we have as people who love essential oils is working with aromatic compounds to stimulate the limbic system. So when we inhale the chemical constituents in our essential oils, you can see I'm showing an illustration here for those that are listening with headphones. When you inhale the chemical constituents, the olfactory nerve endings that are kind of behind your eyeballs grab the chemical constituents and pull it right into the limbic system in the brain. And so the limbic system includes things like emotional behavior, motivation, long-term memory, sense of smell, your adrenaline flow, right? That fight or flight Robert was talking about. And so I think one of the fastest ways to shift our emotions and our stress point is with aromatic compounds. And so I highly recommend people use the oils in this way daily, if not multiple times a day. So what I've found over the years is that people will buy oils and they'll sit in the bathroom or they'll sit on a shelf. Put them in your purse, have them on you, use them smell them throughout the day, and highly recommend diffusing for this reason. You know, it's deeply relaxing. It helps us manage our stress, but it also purifies our home, right? So depending on what you're diffusing, you can really mess with bugs and mold and germs and pathogens in the air. So that is very uplifting to our health, but as we mentioned, also to our mood. And I'm showing some blends here, and so I really like to do a fading blend right now. But sense hard mentioning the the adrenal and what is the one, Rob? Adrenal. I can't the third one. Anyway, we have great support.
Did we lose Asha?
Yes, it looks like we lost Asha. Robert,
Okay.
is there anything you want to chime in with while we're waiting for her to return?
Sure. I want to say that when you turn on your energy joy engine, so you're radiating this energy of joy, it's powerful. You can affect people in your sphere, your environment. You can use it to uplift future events. And when I was walking in San Bernardino Mountains with a buddy of mine a few years ago, just, hiking through the woods, all of a sudden out of the blue, we heard this big crashing coming through the woods, which, we were like, well, we didn't think about that. It's like a real wilderness. And this huge bull came out of nowhere, like a wild bull with horns, a couple of tons of rippling muscles, and it just looked at us like, "Argh." And the telepathic communication was so clear. You move 1 inch forward, you die. And we were like, hey, no problem. And when it locked us in, its cow and calf moved behind it up the mountain. So it was just protecting its family. And when we got that, I beamed it with my energy joy engine, and every rippling muscle tensed up in that bull just relaxed instantly, and it got it. And this is how indigenous peoples can communicate with other species, is through this heart energy. They get that, and energy transmits content, right? Just like your cell phone, when it rings, that there's email, Twitter, tweets, text, all that stuff coming in as content, and that's what we're radiating with our thoughts, emotions, and our intentions that we want to uplift when we communicate to the quantum field, or whatever you want to call it, the universe. So we get that back. That's how we want to manifest what we want. But other species get that. And then I'll turn it back to Asha.
Hey, sorry about that, everybody. There's just too much good information happening. Okay, I think we were here talking about supporting the adrenals. A couple products I really like are rosemary oil, basil oil. That's topical right over the adrenal glands, right over just above your kidneys. And I also really like Mito 2 Max for this. And I'm not going to go in depth today because I've got a couple more slides I really want to share with you guys. Just giving you the highlights. I am a huge proponent of self-care. And I mean, take it seriously. This is not just like a once a month, kick your feet up or have a pedicure. I mean, if we're on the earth right now, dealing with all the stresses and all the things that we're witnessing, we have to learn how to take care of ourselves. No one else is going to do it. And it makes a huge difference in your health and wellness. So, making sure you're hydrated. The new electrolytes from doTERRA are absolutely mind-blowing. Highly recommend those. So drinking enough water. I love dry brushing before I bathe every day. That's what that illustration is in the middle on the left with all the arrows. You're actually bringing them towards your heart rather than away, the strokes. I'm a big proponent of castor oil packs. I love doing that at least once a month, but sometimes people who have digestive issues or respiratory issues, they may be doing this once a week. Meditation is fantastic. Learning what acupressure points are great for your personal protocol, and also what plants to put on the acupressure point, that can be a game changer. So this is these are just some fun self-care tips. Let's talk about the stress buster, the chemical constituent linalool. So linalool is what makes lavender so calming. But look at what beats the heck out of lavender. Magnolia is 71% linalool. Isn't that amazing? So almost twice as calming as lavender is. And we all love lavender. It's amazing. But again, basil and coriander are also fantastic. And often when I'm working with people who have extreme stress, or, you know, conditions like, you know, OCD, or just can't manage or quiet their mind, we use some of these internally as well, not just topically. So let's talk about the nervous system and the neurotransmitters. We have these beautiful floral plants that we can use to support our neurotransmitters, right? Amazing. They're just incredible. Not only do they do things like balance the endocrine system and uplift our mood, but they also do stimulate or support serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. And so on the screen right now, if you're listening to the audio, is rose, jasmine, and neroli oil. And then I can't leave out one of our top dogs, which is copaiba, right? So incredible for affecting the receptors in the endocannabinoid system, right? So this has an incredible effect for pain, inflammation. It's also neuroprotective, really great for supporting stress and anxiousness. It's wonderful for the cardiovascular and the nervous system, and boosting the immune system. So copaiba is one of these oils that I take daily sublingually, meaning I put 1 to 2 drops under my tongue every single day. But in doTERRA, we truly have so many options to support anxiousness and stress and even depression. So the adaptive system is phenomenal, right? There's copaiba in the 15 ml oil, or there's a gel cap of copaiba. I love balance. I love serenity. I love the new serenity stick. And then there's also, we've learned this over the years, Melissa oil, the oil of light. You know, you can put your thumb over the orifice of the Melissa oil, take the cap off, go upside down, get a half drop, and then press your thumb to the roof of your mouth with Melissa. And this is a wonderful, wonderful way to uplift depression and anxiety. One of the most important things for our mental health and physical health is getting great sleep and really ensuring great sleep, right? And so it's one thing to know these practices. It's another thing to take it seriously, like I said, with the self-care, and be consistent. Do it. Try not to have extreme times of going to bed. Try and set a time that you can be consistent, whether it's the weekend or during the week. You know, I'm in bed every night by 10 o'clock. I mean, like, going to sleep. I don't stay up really late anymore. And when I do, I just feel horrible the next day. And maybe that's just my age, I'm not sure, but I love getting enough sleep. So things that can support this are breath work, using your essential oils, getting off any screens or technology 1 to 2 hours before you go to sleep. There's wonderful supplements. There's the Serenity Gel Cap. There's the Serenity Stick. I also take a magnesium before bed that's supportive. Again, the acupressure points can be great for this. Shen Men, or there's the K1 point in the center of the foot. Diffusing is great. I love having a diffuser next to my bed to do lavender or serenity or breathe or any of the ones that support your particular sleep. You know, sleep is so important, not just for restoring us, but it's the body's time and the organs' time to function, to take out the trash, to process things, to, you know, everything gets rebooted. And when we cheat ourselves of those things, those organs will just say, oh, I'll do it another time. And they tend not to function as well as they could. So here's a visual for sleep support. The only thing missing here would be, for me, this Serenity stick. The new stick is phenomenal, but I highly recommend the Serenity gel cap, especially if you're someone who's been working with melatonin, or even gummy bears that have particular things that inside the gummy bears. It's just that it's not totally natural, especially melatonin. You don't want to mess with your hormones like that, your inner melatonin. You know, you don't want to always force it and reboot it. And so I've gotten so many people off sleep meds with these gel caps. They really do work beautifully. And that is it for this particular presentation. Both Robert and I want to thank you so much for your attention as we went through our slides. Feel free to reach out to either one of us if you're interested in learning more or working with one of us. We have time left over now for questions, which is, I'm so happy we did this in the right amount of time. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Wow. It was so much. I love the Asha, your slides are always the most beautiful, incredible slides. So you bring your brilliance of your design to that. So thank you for sharing those. And we have so many solutions. Of course, I hear this and I want to know the intersection. And Robert, you have your book. Do you also have courses? Is this a process for people learning how to grow and work with their joy, the energies, and moving into that? I imagine that for some people, it's a process.
Yeah, thank you. I do. I work with individuals, online or in person, and I do groups, teach
Mhm.
classes, and it's a training,
Yes.
and I just wrote a, white paper. I should send it to you, um, for corporations to
Mm.
fix stress. It's like the number one cause of their healthcare dollar losses and absenteeism losses, and it's so easy to fix, and it improves people's focus, and
Yes.
productivity. Um, and yeah, so I want to start moving into that because we really have to change this whole healthcare system and get people healthy. It's been too long. We're just and too many of the players in the healthcare system have no incentive to do that because their revenues are dependent upon them having sick people. So we need to really introduce health and optimal health and start, showing, well, how do you get that? But yeah, I love, my favorite part is teaching people how to do this. And part of, in addition to, working in medical centers and all for 3 decades, at the same time, I trained simultaneously for 8 years with a Native American medicine man and with a Chinese Taoist Qigong master. And so I integrated that knowledge, and with an enlightened Zen master who I learned to meditate from. And these are all people who could, with their normal vision, see your whole past and your whole future. And, so I was always amazed at, what they knew and what they could teach. And I always wanted to put that knowledge into physiology and science, because it's just how your body is designed. And it's like we have these dormant capacities inside of us that we can activate. And so that's what I love teaching, is to teach people how to do that.
And we're I want to help Robert with his course. Hopefully on Be Connected, he will have a new workshop course, right? Where you can take people through your slides and coach them.
Yeah, thank you. By the way,
Mhm.
all my beautiful slides were made by Asha too.
Does
Well, do people
anyone have
have any
any
questions?
questions
Yeah.
or comments or anything? Or tell us what you're using, what tools you're using, if they weren't something I shared, if you have any particular fun protocols that you use to help yourself with stress or anxiety or wow, it's a quiet peanut gallery.
So let me offer something that one thing to be really curious about is because stress is an awareness signal, right? It makes you aware of an opportunity where there's to avoid danger, where your life might be threatened, or to recognize an opportunity to grow or prosper or accomplish something you really want and value. So what is fascinating is that this awareness signal, the source of it must be more aware than we are because it's making us aware, right? So I find this fascinating. And um, with this, spiritual traditions, it's like, yeah, when you start getting more and more in the present and getting rid of the noise and the discomforts and distractions of stress and anxiety, so you're fully alert and alive in the moment, you actually open up a portal of awareness of being in the present more and more, which is the timing key for being alive and the source of your greatest personal power, where you can choose to do or say or not do or not say. And, that's what we're human beings, like present tense. We're not human wases or human will be's, like I don't know how they got that right, but it's brilliant. We're a human being, present tense. So one of the things I recommend is when you feel stress or anxiety, to know that there's a communication going on within that to you to correct course in some way. And when you get that message, the stress has served its purpose and it dissolves.
Hmm.
So, for example, I have a process, I call it the internal dialogue, where I connect their conscious mind to the part of them producing the problem, whether it's anxiety or heart disease or cancer, and find out, like, what does it want? Like, what's its purpose? And the person always knows. It's usually about self-love or the lack of it, really, where they're not honoring themselves in some way. And when they get that message, the the problem has served its purpose.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it can dissolve, or you can speed that up with the essential oils and the amazing products of doTERRA. But when it's become physical and like that, but you want to take care of the purpose of it and realign with that, and then you get a benefit. you
That is
know
such a good point, Robert, about the signal. And that's why I showed that picture of that woman lying there. And I said, taking a moment to tune in, right? And to really listen, first become aware, listen, understand what's being what your the physiology of your body and what you're experiencing. I think for many people, they get caught in that loop of overstim, particularly mentally, and they can't get down into the deeper levels of breath and heart where the joy is located. So that's where these tools come in. It's not like we're trying to like mask or just like, anesthetize people, but I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that that is such a great distinction, is that awareness of what's actually happening and why, and learning, right? We have so much to learn. There, in a way, we have to be humble.
Yeah, you have to clear your mind and receive. That's the egolessness state where you can actually receive your guidance. You know, um, So the other thing that I've learned, because I believe everything's energy, is when people have gotten that message, you know, and they're going to act on it with respect. Um, Often at that point, I can reach in energetically and remove the problem as a blockage, which is pretty cool. I can't do that if they don't act on their message, because then it'll just reappear in some way. But it can be, a lot of things can be done at the energy level that are pretty cool. Sometimes, actually, when I work with people, if I'm clear and like Asha's saying, um, you're tuned in, and Asha's probably a master at tuning in and getting clear and accessing those states um, with all her training. But what I've learned is when I tune in, oftentimes I can see like a siphon, like a cable going into their problem area in their body. And when I trace it out of their body, there's like a dark cloud. And if I concentrate on it and ask properly, the cloud becomes like a little video. And I see like how they got the problem. And I'll communicate that to them. And then sometimes that's all they need to know, is that awareness, and then things can resolve. It's kind of fascinating. It's like an adventure, but that's the art, that I love, because I never know what's going to show up.
Mika,
Dr.
did you
Mika.
have anything? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert and Asha. I love, Robert, how you can articulate something that's can be difficult to articulate. Energy, medicine, energy, radiating content. Yeah, thank you for articulating all of that. I'm excited to read your book. I think that's what's really interesting. A take home for me, treating patients, is actually when the person is in a stressful state, to have them acknowledge that it could be their friend. And in that moment, not during meditation, but in that moment, you can identify maybe what that stress is telling you, or that you're in stress, instead of just being flooded, because they're usually flooded, right? Overwhelmed with the heart racing, the anxiety. Oh my God, I got to go to the hospital. Just in a split second to switch that to what is it really telling you in that moment. And you don't have to, and that could be the meditation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
Yes, Mika, I would,
yeah.
the power, what we're talking about is the power of recognition, true deep acknowledgement and recognition. And when someone has that with a state, a vibration, a situation that's been chronic, that is holding them back, like disease, as Robert is saying, the disease is not the state of stress, it's the chronic state of stress, and not listening to what the stress is just a messenger. And my teacher has a great saying, which is very powerful as you go in layers down into it. And this discussion is getting to it. And I didn't understand it for many, many years, which is recognition is enough. And that's really what we're talking about here. And a lot of us are like, oh, yeah, but give me the fix.
Mm-hmm.
No, recognition is enough. And when you really have that, and what I am hearing Robert saying in a therapeutic, what he's experiencing is we heal ourselves in conjunction with a great person who's like a practitioner who's helping us to get to that point of deep recognition and surrender, so that that state can be listened to and released. And that is healing. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think people are terrified. they experience what Mika just said, right? The heart racing, all the thing, all the fear, and then they block and they just want it to stop, and they get to higher levels of out of body instead of going to that, Josie, calm, what's going on right now, what identifying, recognizing, observing. I noticed that for myself, what happens when I do this on a regular basis is what follows is extreme clarity. Like when I take the time to do this kind of recognition practice, I then feel totally clear. You know what I'm saying? Does anybody else experience that with this kind of work?
Yeah, that's great. That's that's the goal, because then then you move on. Then you can move on with your life, and you got the thing that we're not being taught is that these experiences, no matter how difficult and uncomfortable, they have a purpose. The purpose is exquisite, like pain. It's a signal to change something, to fix something. And the same with every aspect of stress and anxiety. And once we know that, it's like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like my being is so large that it's got this aspect that tells me when something needs correcting, and all I got to do is tune in and listen. I get the goods. It's kind of it's fascinating. Um, and then when we're tuned in further to our relationship with the biosphere, we get a whole other realm of, guidance. And then when we tune in further to the realms of, spirituality of with the creator, however you want to call it, that's a whole other realm of guidance. And all of these things are together is our being, and it's amazing to play in all those realms, and they all come back down to our stress, because you could have a perfect life and you're still going to have stress because you're growing. They're indicators of, oh, you can grow right here.
Yes, we're in process, right? we're all in process. And I think it's time to pass it back to Aisha.
Are you with us, Aisha, or should
Yes,
I think
she's here.
he's having some sound difficulties.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
I can
Josie
wrap it
told me.
up. Well, this has been a wonderful call. Thank you so much, Robert and Asha and everybody. What a deep and meaningful and powerful conversation. And what I love about the essential oils with doTERRA is it doesn't matter what you're working with or talking about. There's always a place of kind of what I said, like integrating in. And I always find that if I'm doing work like this, like I don't know if you guys noticed during the call when Robert and Asha were talking, I was going through a whole sequence with frankincense and some of the oils and smelling them and allowing them to those constituents to go into my brain and help stimulate all of the neurochemistry to be working with these interesting concepts and sort of layering it that way together. So I think that's what we do here. We love all different kinds of work and health and wellness, and discussing that and bringing in guest speakers. So please, if you're in our community and you know someone, you have someone who you would like to suggest to us as a guest speaker, please contact Aisha Harley or myself, Dr. Josie Schmidt, and let us know. And we'll see you next week. I believe next week we're going to have a group community conversation. We don't get that often. We have a lot of amazing of these calls, but these are so juicy, y'all. This is when we all come on and we're going to ask some questions on Facebook and online about, do you have any topics that you're interested in? What do you want to talk about? And we'll use that a little bit. But all of us old ladies and men and people who've been here, experts and even just oil lovers and such forth, we're going to be on here. And this is your chance. This is your chance to like ask us questions, get down into the juice. And when we do this call, we don't record it. So we can like really get into the juice. You see what I'm saying? of things and say whatever we want to say. It's not going to be recorded. So it's a special time, and definitely come join us. That is next Monday. All right. Thank you, everyone. Much joy.
Thank you.
Goodbye.